Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about whether you're ready to poke some stuff. By that I mean, are you ready to start feeling? When we lose weight, or when we're dieting, we have to make the conscious decision to not use food in a way that we would have done before. Let's be blunt, those of us who are overweight, generally speaking, use food for something other than fuel. I know I did. Hands up, I most definitely did. And in order to lose weight, I needed to be able to stop using the food for the ways that I was using it and to just have food as fuel. And that creates a real conundrum because for me personally, I had used for my entire life food in order to smother down the feelings that I didn't want to face. Food for me smothered down the intense pain that I felt and stopped me from feeling it. And I learned that I needed to be able to face those feelings and do something with that feeling, or not, actually. I recently went on a talk by Mitch Jones. If you want to find out a little bit more about him, he's on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, I believe. His tag is Get Mitched. Well worth a look. He uses neuro-linguistic programming. I believe he's a trained NLP practitioner, and he uses he challenges people in as to their mindset. And there was one thing that he kept coming back to, which I found really interesting, was the 3 decisions that we make that affect the choices that we then go on to do. And I'll run through this several times just so that you can get it clear in your own minds. But the 3 decisions are: what am I focusing on? What does it mean? And what am I going to do about it? And those 3 decisions dictate whether or not you are going to take a positive spin on something or a negative spin on something, and whether you're going to, how you're actually going to deal with whatever situation you're in. So the example that Mitch used was, imagine that you're in a car and you have a bit of a bump, and so the what am I focusing on is, oh, what an idiot behind me who managed to go into my rear end, and for God's sake, I'm so angry, I'm already late anyway, and now I'm going to be even later, and what is that idiot even thinking of driving so close to me? What does it mean? Well, the man must be a total idiot, and I bet he was on his phone, and etc, etc, etc. And then what am I going to do about it is I'm going to get out of the car, I'm going to really shout, and I've got to get rid of this anger and express it. When actually, so that's the negative 3 decisions, whereas the positive 3 decisions could have been, what am I focusing on? Could be, okay, how badly is the car affected? Actually, it's not nearly as bad as all that. Is anyone injured? No, everyone is safe. What does it mean? Well, actually, the car's not too badly damaged, and I've not got whiplash or any other injuries, so it could have been a lot worse. And what am I going to do about it? I'm going to jump out of the car and just check that the other guy's okay. Or maybe scribble down some insurance details, but there's no need to get all hectic about it because there's not a lot of damage. And the way you take the 2 approaches dictates your feelings that then go with that. So the first one is obviously anger, which for me in the past would have definitely led to eating to control that feeling, to smother the feeling. Or the second approach, of course, is gratitude that you're safe, and that no one was hurt and the car isn't too badly damaged. And I think it really goes to show the power of emotions and how they affect the choices that we then go on to make. Certainly for me, I think that when you dumb down the feelings that you're feeling, they stop you from actually poking that stuff, dealing with that stuff by dumbing everything down. And for me, I feel that one of the ways that I've managed to maintain my weight now for 4 years is that instead of dumbing down those feelings, I've allowed those feelings to surface, and I've faced the stuff And sometimes you're not ready to do that, and that's okay. If you feel that you've got a heck of a lot of stuff going on, maybe now's not the time to deal with that stuff and face that stuff. But one thing I would say is that I have learned that a lot of the feelings are not, you can sit with them, and it's not nearly as bad as you think it's going to be. It's amazing what I can sit with and observe and then allow it to pass, and the feelings do go, and you survive them. You're not going to explode or have a meltdown or whatever you think is going to happen. And that's the thing, isn't it? You think we can't cope. Actually, we're so much stronger than we think we are. You can cope with the most amazing things. You've got to prove it to yourself that you can. So the two ways of dealing with this are to just sit with it and let those feelings pass, but then also to sit with those feelings and then think, what have I got to do about this, so that you can take a very positive, proactive control of the situation. So a good example for me was quite a few years ago, one of my children was really quite poorly and was off school for quite a long time. At the time, I had my own gardening business, and I was trying very hard once a week to get to college, which was about an hour and a quarter's drive away. And the number of times I would go just once a week, having organised God knows what to actually get there with the rest of the childcare, and school would ring me and say, I'm really sorry, but you're going to have to come back and pick up your child because they're really poorly again. And the number of times I would be sat fuming in the car, absolutely furious that I yet again was trying to do something for myself and I couldn't. I'd pick up my poor child, very grumpy, although obviously concerned as a mum. But I'd be really grumpy, but not want to express that because it wasn't the child's fault that they were so poorly. And I would internalise all of that and look after myself in the way I thought I was, by dumbing down those bad feelings and eating, because that was nice for me, even though it wasn't nice for me because that was part of the process of putting on 7.5 stone too much. So now what I do is I feel those feelings and then I think, what are they going to pass, or do I need to do something about that? And so if the same situation was to arise now, I would accept that, yeah, it's really irritating that I've not been able to do what I needed to do. If we go back to Mitch's 3 decisions, what am I focusing on? Well, with that situation I've just described, I was focusing on the irritation of the whole thing and how angry it made me feel that I couldn't do something for myself. I could instead be focusing on, thank goodness I'm able to get home within an hour to get my child from school. Thank goodness we weren't totally reliant on my money, and that I could leave the college and look after my child. Thank goodness that they weren't that ill that they were in hospital or worse. What does it all mean? Well, the positive side of it is that I could be there for my child, and that there was a lot to be grateful for, and that he could have been a lot worse. What am I going to do about it? Well, clearly I was annoyed that I couldn't look after myself in the way that is important too. So I needed to actually, rather than just eat, I needed to talk that through with my husband and figure out a way that I was going to look after myself, because clearly at that point I wasn't able to do college, so I needed to figure out to do something else. So 3 decisions make a massive difference to whether you're going to choose to eat or not. So next time you're tempted, thanks for this, Mitch, think to yourself, what am I focusing on? What does it mean? And what am I going to do about it? And I'd add, can I just sit with it and let it pass? What am I focusing on? What does it mean? And what am I going to do about it? And will these feelings just pass? Okay, hope that helps.